Hello YouTube, Josh running from Future-Morphs with clutch 42, another Palmetto clutch. Not the biggest, just 11 babies, but they are from a Palmetto buff butter hom or het striped, and he proved out het Hypo, so that's a good thing, to a female Palmetto Hypo het butter motley, with also some possible heads, but they did not prove out. So everything will be Palmetto, but because we have buff, Hypo, caramel, amelanistic, but then also of course orange and hypo buff and all sorts of combinations. So it's pretty difficult actually to ID them as babies because they are just have a few speckles. So I really just look at, do I see for instance, if it's just like gray spots but with one red spot, then you know it cannot be a caramel, for instance, because a caramel would only have gray and yellow spots. If you see just the albino eyes, the amelanistic eyes, that makes it easy. So then you know it's an amelanistic or an orange or a butter or whatever. So that makes it easy to identify. But the difference between amelanistic and orange can be quite difficult. Although I have one that is quite obviously an orange. But well, I will show you that later. And also with the hypo it can be annoying because hypo makes the black spots more gray, of course, so they will have still orange and gray spots, so they look a little bit like a normal. But yeah, buff also makes them halfway in between normal and caramel. So this was not the smartest combination. Well, it's a good combination. But my goal was to make Palmetto amber. And I did not get any Palmetto ambers, so no holdbacks in this clutch for me. So they will all be available on the morph list. I also put on the morph list that some have bigger eyes, because you will see in the video. So hopefully if you see them on the morph list, or if you see this video, then you know which one have the big eyes and which one have good eyes. Let's go look at the babies. Well, and as you see in the meantime, well, maybe you don't see, but we are on the different side of the room now, because, well, here we had clutch 30 from, what is it, 2 days ago or so, or yesterday. But yeah, a lot of open spots that still have to hatch. But 42 all of a sudden, it hatched pretty quick. Also, people ask me this time of year, like, will you have more babies? Yeah, so this will all be full in probably in 2 days, and then that will be full in another week, and a week later that will be full. So every day babies will hatch, basically. So keep watching my channel, keep following me on Facebook, and then you won't miss anything. But on to the babies. So this is the first one. It's a male, and I think it's just a Palmetto. It could be buff, so I put them on the morph list as possible buff. But yeah, it obviously has some red, so it's not a caramel. It doesn't have amelanistic eyes, so that's why I think it is just a normal. Then we go to the first difficult one. This is, let's check, a female. Oh, sorry, I went out of focus. It could be a normal, but it could also definitely be a hypo, because it has a softer look, sort of. But it could also be a buff. But I'm guessing it's, I have it on the morph list as a normal as well, I think. But could be more. Then we have this male. Let's check. A male which I also think is a hypo. It has quite some freckles, but none are really black. So I think this might be a hypo. Or it probably is a hypo, I should say. This one I'm a little bit more sure that it's a hypo, because here you really don't see any black, but well, maybe there. So yeah, it is just difficult. They just had one shed so far. They after 3 or 4 or 5 meals they will have another shed. Usually then you can see a little bit better what color they will get, but in the beginning it's just difficult. Oh, I'll just sit on the ground like the old man that I am. Well, this one is the only one that still needs to shed, as you can see, but I'm pretty sure it's a caramel. Although it could also be a buff. But I'm thinking caramel. It's a male. There are also 2 females that I think are caramel. So this is female number 1. And I labeled them, as you can see, as caramel buff, in between brackets. Yeah, the buff in caramel is really difficult to see. In non-Palmetto babies, a buff caramel is quite easy to identify. They are way brighter, but in Palmetto it's just difficult. But I think this is also a caramel. Female number 2. Then we have 2 males that are, well, looking at the eyes, they are obviously amelanistic. But yeah, they could be butter, they could be orange, but well, you see some orange and red spots, so it's definitely not a homozygous caramel. So I think this is just an amelanistic. Could also be an amelanistic hypo. That also makes it more difficult, of course, because you don't see hypo in amelanistic, but it does make them a bit brighter. The same with this. This is also a male, so this is male number 2. Probably just amelanistic, because the spots in his neck are basically red and not really bright orange. This female, I do think, is an orange, because I don't know how it will show up in the video. But yeah, it's just a lighter color overall. So all the spots are not really the dark red, but more, yeah, bright orange. That's why I think this is an orange, so a buff amelanistic. And the last one is this male. Well, he almost has no color at all. Well, there's a little spot, but especially the one on his neck. Go sit a little better for the light. So yeah, it looks yellow, so that's why I think it's a butter. But yeah, the rest is difficult to say at the moment. But it looks pretty dark yellow, so I don't think this is a buff butter. But yeah, with just that one little freckle there, it's quite difficult to see, of course. So, well, as always, they will be on the morph list as soon as this video goes live. But yeah, it's a 5 or 7 minute video or whatever. So it could be that they are all sold. Again, with the wholesalers to China, it's difficult sometimes. But well, as long as they are on the morph list, then they are available.